Well, what's up, 915? How are you guys? Listen, didn't the band do amazing? Like every single week, I'm just like, bring it, keep going. Like it's so good. And listen, we just clapped like twice. Listen, you're in church on Dad's Day. Clap for yourselves for that. Like that's a big deal. Every single Mother's Day, we're like, put out all the chairs. We don't have enough chairs in the building. Put them in the lobby. Put them all over the place. On Dad's Day, we're like, I hope people come today. But look at you guys. You're here in church. You look good. Maybe this is your first time. Maybe you're a dad and somebody in your family was like, hey, your Dad's Day gift is we're taking you to church. And I am so sorry, okay? No, I'm just kidding. We're glad that you're here, whatever your story is. My name is Joel. I'm the campus pastor here, and we have 3 different campuses at Bayshore. We have our Millsboro campus meeting right now, our Fenwick campus meeting, but we only have one campus where you get to sit 15 feet underground. This is the subterranean campus, so we're glad that you guys are hanging out with us, and I just want to shout out the dads real quick. Listen, dads don't want to stand up, so we're not going to make you stand up, dads, but we are going to put our hands together for you right now, all right? Everybody just get loud for the dads. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Listen, you got a great gift, a great Dad's Day gift. I have the best Dad's Day gift. I can one-up you, okay? Because in 2015, my son was born on Dad's Day, which is so cool. So, but it's been 11 years since Dad's Day and his birthday collided on the same day again, and that is today. And so I got a kid for Father's Day. I mean, it gets no better, you know. But dads, I just want to just say real quick, like you guys are amazing and you guys set the tone in your houses. You set the tone for your kids. You set the spiritual tone for your family. And so I'm just so proud of you for being in church on Dad's Day. I would not be on this stage if it wasn't for my dad setting the tone in my life. And so good on you guys, and all of you are jealous if you're a dad that you didn't get the Yeti bag, okay? Me too. And Nate, if you're around, pick me for the next service. I know all of the things that this guy chose. I know what they are now. But every dad, after the service, we got Scrapple sandwiches in the backyard for you. We have Dad's root beer for you. It's the best root beer you've ever had, okay? And it's for the dads. If you're a mom and we catch you in the backyard, our security team has been told to tackle you, all right? So go back there at your own risk. But speaking of Dad's Day, I thought I would start out by telling you, and we'll put this on the screen, telling you about my top 5 dad pet peeves. Is that okay? Can I do that? Okay. You don't know what you just signed up for. I am going to be so whiny, but it's okay, dads, because on Dad's Day, we can say what we want to say, we can do what we want to do, and we can eat whatever we want. Isn't that true? Yes. That's not true at all. Don't try that today. But here are my top 5 dad pet peeves in my house, okay? Maybe you can relate to these, maybe you can't, but we'll put up this first one, is not using doors correctly. Now, I just grew up for the first 30 years of my life thinking everybody knows how to use doors. You don't have to be taught how to use a door. It's just like you just know, like you're born, you come out of the womb knowing how to correctly use a door. And then God blessed me with 2 amazing, beautiful door challenged children, because my boy Nixon is a door slammer, and my daughter Nora, she loves when there's a door closed, okay? She loves to just walk right in. No knocking, just walks right in, and I love it so much. And I have these veins on the side of my head. I don't know if you've ever seen them. Every single time my kids use a door incorrectly, it grows by 1 inch. And so by next Dad's Day, it's going to be in my tippy toes, okay? So it drives me crazy, pet peeve for me. Here's another dad pet peeve I have is wasting food. Now, we're in the series called Leftovers, and we named the series Leftovers because it's leftover ideas I have throughout the year. But let's talk about food leftovers for a second. How many of you have some leftover food in your fridge sometimes? You have, okay? That should be everybody. If you eat it all every time, that's amazing. But we have leftovers a lot in my house. And I just have this crazy idea that when there's a bunch of leftovers in the fridge, instead of making a whole new meal that's going to create new leftovers, what you should maybe do is just eat the leftovers. How do you know this and my family doesn't know this? I always tell my kids, I'm like, we want to be above average people. That's our goal. Like, let's be above average people. And we're crushing it because the average American throws out 43% of their food. And like, we are way above average with that. And so anyway, we love to waste food at our house. Here's one of my other pet peeves, is talking during a show. Now, since we spend all of our money on food that we throw out, we have to sign up for those streaming services with the commercials. How many of you on the commercial streaming services playing? Who's on that? Okay. Yeah, not great. Except when you want to talk during a show, do you know when a great time is to talk? During the commercial. It's the only thing that is a perk to having the commercial streaming services. Now, does anybody in my house do this? No. And it's great. I love it. We did, yeah. Anyway. Are you enjoying my pet peeves? I got more. All right, some of you just like you're living through this, all right? So my fourth pet peeve is messiness. Now, I am self-diagnosed with OCD. My closet is color coordinated and glorious. My mini fridge, which is my mini fridge, every single thing in my mini fridge, all the labels face directly out perfectly. My garage is a museum, okay? Where are my OCD people? We're OCD people? Yes, listen, we are God's favorite. We are his favorite. But God also has a sense of humor. And he loves to couple us up with kids and spouses that, how do we say this without sinning, okay? Listen, they're messy little sinners. Let's just say that. We're always with messy people. So all day long, like my kids will walk in the door and they just drop everything. Book bags, clothes, Crocs, all over the place. And they just leave. And so all day long, I'm picking up all their stuff and I move it to the steps and I leave it there. And there's a mound of kids' clothes on the steps. I'm always moving their stuff. And that brings me to my fifth dad pet peeve is when people move my stuff. Now, some of you are probably like, well, didn't you just say you move your kids' stuff? Listen, it's Dad's Day. This is an emotional conversation, not a logical one. But these things, okay, when these pet peeves happen to me, my inner peace dies a little bit. Has anybody ever had this happen to you where your inner peace dies a little bit when your pet peeves are getting stepped on? And so like, I have a hard time kind of freaking out on my family when I'm going through pet peeves because all over my house are these little miniature 1-inch Jesuses. Have you seen these around? I don't know I don't even know how they got in my house. This is my house. They're everywhere. And it's hard to be freaking out on your kids when you have dancing Jesus looking at you like, get your life together, Joel. And I'm like, and I want to, listen, I kind of want to remove Jesus, but how do you remove Jesus? These will be in my house for the rest of my life. And so I'm just hoping Jesus helps me choose peace over peeves. Peace over peeves. Everybody say peace over peeves. Peace over peeves. So here's today's message. I'm calling this message, and we'll put this title on the screen. I'm calling today's message, Pump Up Your Peace. Because quick question, how many of you would not be mad if you got a little more peace in your life right now? Who would not be mad about that? Yes, that should be all of us. The hard part about having peace in our lives is because Jesus one time famously said in John 16:33, he said our life is going to be full of trouble. And don't tell Jesus I said this, but that's my least favorite thing he ever said. But here's the thing. For me, it's this thing for you. It's this thing for all of us who are sitting here, everybody who's watching online right now. Real biblical peace is possible in our families, in our friends, in our minds, okay? Now, I'm talking real biblical peace. I'm not talking about like the peace that you ladies get when you go to the spa to have your mani and pedi. Okay, I'm not talking about the peace that every dad in the room gets when your grass looks better than your neighbor's grass. Come on, someone. That gives us some peace. But I'm talking about for real biblical peace. And to show you this biblical peace, I want to take you to what I'm calling the peace passage in the Bible. Everybody say the peace passage. All right, so the peace passage is in Philippians chapter 4, starting in verse 6. I will bet you my scrapple sandwich out back that you have probably heard this before. And we always say this, but if you don't have a Bible, make sure you grab one when you leave today. They're in our lobby. They're free. So grab one. But in the meantime, check out the screen. Here's the peace passage. It says this. It says, don't worry about anything. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all he has done. Then, everybody say then. Then you'll experience what? God's peace, okay? Which exceeds anything that we can understand. His peace. Everybody say his peace. His peace. Here's what it's going to do for you. It's going to guard your hearts. It's going to guard your minds as you live in Christ Jesus. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. He says, fix your thoughts on what is true, on what is honorable, on what is right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Now, I'm curious, how many of you have heard the peace passage before? You've heard this or a version of this before? Okay, that should be pretty much all of us. Now, don't miss this. This is how we pump up our peace. But here's the thing. Most of us think the reason we have a peace problem is because of a person in our life. We think the reason we have a peace problem is because of a problem in our life. How many of you have ever thought it's them or it's that? That's the peace problem. Come on, let's be, and then don't point at them if they're next to you, okay? So some of you know this about me. I carry around some different things in my wallet, and I'll go through a few things. These go with me everywhere I go. I have this picture of me and Stacy's wedding day. I think we can put it up on the screen so you guys can see it. So this is a picture of, is it coming? There it is. All right, this is our wedding day, best day ever. So I carry around this picture everywhere I go. I also have a note from Stacy to me from our wedding day. And I won't be reading this because my mother watches these, and Lord have mercy. And anyway, something else, and this is why I bring this up, that I carry around with me everywhere I go. And some of you know this about me, is I have this Post-it note. I folded it in half, but it's got all these different names on it. And the names of people on this Post-it note, they're people's names. These are my people. These are my ride or die people. These are my people that will bury a body for me. I don't have any bodies, but if they had one, they would bury them for me, okay? You got your people? Anybody got your people? I got my people. They're on my note. Now, when these people say something to me, I respect these people. They're good people, so I listen to what they have to say, okay? So these are good people. There are no Eagles fans on this list. I'm just kidding. Come on. It's football season hasn't started. We're just warming up. Okay. But the reason I have this list, I did this a few years ago, is because it's there to protect my mental health when somebody criticizes me as a pastor, because this is going to blow your mind, but sometimes people criticize me as a pastor. I know, right? Like crazy. And so recently, somebody told somebody they hated this thing that I said. What they didn't know is they told a person that's on my list. And that person told me. The good news is, that person who said the thing that they hated that I said is not on my list. So I'm not supposed to care, right? The bad news is I cared a lot. The double bad news is I too hate some of the things I say, and so I sort of agree with them. And so I'm now like, glitch it out. And so for 3 days, this is true, for 3 days, I went to my wife, Stacy, and I was like, can you believe they said this? And they got a problem with me. I got a problem with them. And my wife is a saint because she has to put up with all this stuff, okay? But here's the thing. I tell you that because a lot of times we think our problem is a person. Our problem is a problem, okay? It's that problem. It's them. It's the HOA's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's my in-law's fault. My mother-in-law's fault. Now, I'm not going to say that. I love my mother-in-law, okay? I have two of them, Terry and Teresa. You guys are the greatest, okay? But a lot of times we think it's that person or it's them. They are causing my peace problems. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. But here's what peace passage Paul says, if you just back up a page or two in your Bible to a different thing he wrote called Ephesians. And this is what he said. This is Ephesians 6, verse 12. He said, hey, your fight isn't against people and problems. Your fight is against the devil and his tricks and illusions. So wherever your peace is under attack right now, it's spiritual. Got it, cuz? This is in the JTV. That's the Joel Tice version. And here's the thing. I'm not qualified to have my own version of the Bible. So let me actually read you the full translation, the real translation. So this is the real translation, the full version, starting at verse 11. Some of you took a picture of the JTV. Don't take a picture of the JTV, okay? That's not real. It is saying, anyway, you'll see. It says this, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggles, everybody say our struggles. Our struggles are not against flesh and blood, okay? And bosses and HOAs and mother-in-laws and okay, it's not against that. But it's against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, so what do? Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place. And this is the part that's important, okay? And with your feet fitted with the readiness. Everybody say the readiness. The readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Okay, so let me kind of give you the Cliff Notes version of this. What Paul is saying here is your problems in your life, not people problems. They're not problems. They're spiritual problems. Everything's spiritual. And so he says, you need to get ready to fight for your peace. Everybody say, get ready, to fight for your peace. So he uses some fighting language. He's talking about like armor. He's talking about shields. And then he brings up feet, shoes. Weird. Why are we talking about feet? Why are we talking about shoes? Okay. I want you to do this. I want you to look at the person's feet next to you, the shoes that they're wearing, and you just tell me if they're ready, if they look ready. Not ready. You got Vans on. You're kind of ready. All right. I like that. All right. Listen, your shoes matter. Isn't that true? Have you ever shoesed poorly for the situation? Well, let me give you an example. 5 years ago, my in-laws treated us to a trip to Disney. I told you, I like my in-laws. I have great in-laws. They treated us to a trip to Disney. That's a good in-law, okay? And I'm not trading my in-laws for your in-laws, okay? I got good ones. And so the thing is, I hadn't been to Disney since I was 5 years old. I hadn't been to Disney since 1987, and I only remember two things about that trip. Number one, I remember that I squeezed Goofy's nose. And Goofy didn't do anything to me, but I squeezed his nose. And there's a picture of it somewhere. I could not find the picture, but I did attack Goofy. The second thing I remember about going to Disney in 1987 when I was 5 is I wore Velcro shoes. Because how many of you know you start life out in Velcro shoes? And at the end of your life, you thought it. I didn't say it, okay? And if you're wearing Velcro shoes, I am so sorry. They are very rude around you, okay? But here's the thing. When I went back to Disney 5 years ago, I'd only been in 1987. I didn't remember that you walk 97,000 miles when you go to Disney. You know that whole, it's a small world after all, lies. It is a large world, and you're going to walk all over the place. And so I shoesed poorly when I went to Disney, okay? I wore the shoes that I'm wearing right now, and you can't see in the back, so here we go, okay? I wore these shoes all over Disney, and I didn't wear socks because I don't wear socks. So listen, 3 days, no socks. Some of you are like, I don't wear socks. No, socks are bad. But anyway, we don't have time for that today. But here's the thing. I walked 3 days in no socks and Vans shoes all over Disney. And by day 3, the heels on my feet, okay, they look like a raw ribeye from 1776 Steakhouse. And I bring up 1776 Steakhouse in case you want to give me a gift card there for Dad's Day, okay? But if you don't, no worries. And so I shoesed poorly. And it's one thing to shoes poorly at Disney. It's another thing to shoes poorly in life. And Paul is like, listen, if you want to fight for peace in your life, you have to choose wisely. Now, I went back to Disney this past March because my in-laws treated us to Disney again. I told you, the best in-laws, okay? So anyway, this time I choosed wisely because this time when I went to Disney, I rocked some dad shoes. Come on. And we have proof, okay, not just that. Here's picture proof in the back. And do you see the socks? Do you see the socks? Listen, I bled out all over Disney the first time. I'm not going to do it again, all right? So I wore socks. But listen, I was ready this time. This is peace on my feet right here, okay? This is wonderful. And so since I actually bled in these actual shoes that I'm wearing, maybe I should I swap them out? Probably should swap them out right now. Okay, so I'm going to change my shoes right now. And there's no one on this side, on the front row, which is good because I got this weird toe on the big toe of my foot. And you all don't need to see it. So I'm going to sit over here if that's okay. All right, so I'm going to put on these shoes and try to talk while I'm sitting here. Let's talk about the Bible. All right, we'll talk about the Bible while I put on shoes. This will be hard for me, not for you. But when Paul says you need to be ready. Your feet need to be ready. He's talking about being ready for battle. That's the imagery. Most theologians think that Paul was talking about maybe two different types of shoes. He could have been talking about the Roman soldiers. Some of you are looking at my big toe. Don't look at my big toe. I told you not to look at the big toe. That's on you, Jennifer. All right. So back to the Roman soldiers. All right. Most theologians think he could have been talking about one or two different types of shoes. One could have been the Roman soldiers' sandals. The Roman soldiers, their government had spent a lot of time giving them the right sandals for battle. And so Roman soldiers had sandals that would go long distances, and they had sandals that could go all terrain. Okay, so they could climb up mountains and jump over rocks and even climb up walls if they needed to. And it's one of the things that gave the Roman army an advantage over the different armies that they would fight, is because their shoes were better than the other armies that they would fought. So Paul could have been talking about the Roman soldiers' feet, their sandals, or he could have been talking about Isaiah 700 years before, which is a prophet. And the prophet Isaiah, he said in Isaiah 61, how beautiful are the feet of those on the mountain who carry the good news. And he says the good news of peace. Everybody say peace. Peace. All right, now my shoes are on, Jennifer. You can look back over here. Okay. Here's what I believe. Okay, now I'm ready. I got my shoes ready. I believe, okay, if we want to go the distance in our faith, and how many of you want to go the distance in your faith? Okay, if you want to be able to have peace that's all terrain, all circumstances. Who wants all terrain, all circumstances kind of peace? If we want to model the good news of Jesus in our life, who would like to be able to do that? Okay, to be able to do that, listen to this. We got to lace up for the fight ahead. We have to lace up for the fight ahead. We lace up. Here's some ways that we lace up. We lace up by choosing gratitude when our life isn't great. We lace up by reading our Bible. We lace up by praying. We lace up by showing up to church every single Sunday that we possibly can. Listen, I think the average churchgoer goes to church once every 6 weeks. Don't be like a once every 6 weeker or once every 6 monther or once every 6 year, okay? And if that's you, we're not mad at you, but man, come to church, lace up regularly. It's going to help you get ready in this fight for peace. You have to lace up to be ready to fight for peace. Now, here's one of the things I know about you guys, or a lot of you guys. I know about some of the battles you guys are facing. And the reason I know about some of your battles is because you tell me in the lobby, or you tell our staff throughout the week and they tell me, or you sign up for, you put your prayer requests in our Church Center app, and there's a bunch of people who pray for you when you do that. And here's what I want you to know. I am so impressed with how you guys have peace and faith in the middle of your battles. It's unbelievable to me. And you guys are facing real battles. Some of you are facing custody battles, divorce battles, loneliness battles, grief battles, health battles, mental health battles, loneliness. Like I could go all day long, and I'm so impressed because you inspire me with how much faith and peace you have in your battle. And I want to tell somebody this. You are more ready for the fight that's ahead than you think you are. You're more ready. You have more peace, and it's going to be available to you, and you already have it, and it's going to be ready for you in this battle that you are about to face. But here's the thing. When you see somebody who is in a battle, but they have peace publicly, they've been getting ready privately. When they have peace publicly, they have been getting ready privately. We don't see that part of the picture, right? We only see part of the picture. Okay, it kind of reminds me of this picture. We'll put this on the screen. This is my dog, Charlie. And he's getting a haircut, and you think he looks cute. You should try to cut his hair. He is an evil little booger that is hateful, all right? So, but in this picture, would you agree that Charlie looks happy? Charlie looks good. That's only part of the picture, because 2 seconds before this picture was taken, my wife was cutting his hair, and Charlie tried to chomp my wife's hand, all right, because Stacy was cutting off his hair. Now, in Charlie's defense, not a good haircut. But in our defense, we can't take him to a real groomer because he will chomp their hands. And so you don't see the full picture. And here's why I tell you that, because we only see part of the picture. And people who have publicly who are publicly displaying peace privately, they've been working on gratitude, even when things aren't great. Privately, they've been praying. Privately, they have been reading their Bible. Privately, they've been listening to that song by Mosaic. I don't know if you know it. It's called Peace Be Still. It's a good one. It's one of those songs, if you're driving through Dewey, you should put down your minivan windows and bump through Dewey, okay? But that is the full picture. You're only seeing part of the picture. But behind the scenes, that's what they've been doing. So we'll put this on the screen. To pump up your peace publicly, you've got to be getting ready privately. Now, maybe you're like, oh, that's a catchy phrase, but I don't even know, like, what does that even mean? How do I do that? Well, in the peace passage, I left off the last verse. And so let me show you the last verse of what Paul says in the peace passage. Paul says this in verse 9. He says, whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into what? Practice. Everybody say practice. Okay, and then here's what happens. The God of peace will be with you. So just say this with me. Oh, I gotta practice. No one of you did that with me except for 3 people over here. It's okay. It's Dad's Day. You want a Scrabble sandwich? I got it. Okay. Listen, the way you get peace over peeves is practice. If you see somebody who has peace, they have been putting in some private spiritual practices. Okay, this is important. We'll put this on the screen. God's peace follows my practices. Not the other way around. I've never one time seen somebody who's got all this peace because God's like, hey, I'm going to give you peace. And then they're like, oh, God's a good guy. I think I'll start spiritual practices now. No. We have to put those spiritual practices into place, and then God's peace follows our practices, okay? So speaking of practices, and I'll tie this in a second, we have a lot of young people who come to Bayshore, okay? So what I mean by that is people who are under 30. So if you're under 30, where's the under 30 people? Don't be embarrassed. It's good. A lot of people, okay. I used to be one of you. I'm not anymore now. I got dad's shoes on and I go to Disney World, okay? But if you're under 30, this is only a question for the 30 and under crowd, okay? So does anybody know who this picture is? If you're under 30, who knows who this is? Are you? Larry Bird. Larry Bird, yes. Then the last service, there was only one person in this service. But listen, this is so good, all right? So Larry Bird, all right, by the way, I'm sorry, his shorts are so short. YouTube is probably kicking us off right now. But Larry Bird, legend. But look at him. He does not have the physique of, I don't know, Michael Jordan or Dominique Wilkins back in the day, okay? He just looks like Larry, right? So how did he compete at the highest level and become one of the greatest NBA players of all time? Here's what he said. I watched an interview of him this week. He said, all I knew I had to do was I had to practice more than the person I was facing. If I could practice more than that person, then maybe I could beat him on the basketball court. So he said, if Michael Jordan would, I'm making this part up, but let's play this out. If Michael Jordan took 150 practice shots, I had to take 200 practice shots. If Dominique Wilkins practiced for 27 hours that week, I just knew I had to practice for 32 hours that week. He said, the way that I got where I got is I knew I had to practice when everybody else went home. And that's how he became one of the top 10 NBA players of all time. And he looks like he works in customer service at Lowe's. Listen, practice changed the game for Larry Bird. And practice can change the game for every single one of us, okay? We're not going to be putting up peace over peeves, 3-pointers. We're not going to be dunking on worries in our life unless we practice a whole lot. Can I just give you 3 spiritual practices real quick? I know we're near the end, but can I do it real quick? Okay, some of you aren't sure, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, number 1 is this. If you're taking notes, you have to practice prayer. So remember that person who said they hated the thing that I said, but I kind of agreed with them. Do you remember that situation? Okay, for 3 days, I talked to my wife, Stacey, like crazy about this. I was like a chatty cat. They were like, can you believe? And mouths doing all this stuff. And so I for 3 days, I talked to my wife about it. I talked to my empty closet that is OCD organized about it. I don't know if you've ever done this before. I talked to my dog Charlie with a new haircut about it. And then I was walking around my house after I thought about all these people I talked to about it. And well, here's a picture of what I saw. And I thought, there's somebody I haven't talked to about it. Who was it? It was Jesus. And maybe you can relate to that, where you've talked to somebody or a bunch of people a whole lot about a situation. And those people sent me to church today to tell you they're tired of hearing about it. But it's okay because we have an outlet. And here's our outlet. We'll put this on the screen. Stop talking about it and start praying about it. Talking about it's good, okay? I'm not telling you not to talk about it. Therapy, all that stuff is good, okay? But sometimes we talk too much about it. So let's stop talking about it and let's start praying about it. And so this is what Paul said. In verse 6 and 7, we already looked at this, but he said, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Don't just like overtalk your situation with Mo, Curly, and Larry, or whoever those people are. But pray about it. Pray about everything. Tell God what you need. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. And so, on Dad's Day 2026, people, can we just start practicing praying more? Can we do that? And listen, the side product is all those people in your life who you've been like talking to them about this stuff a lot, they're going to like you more. So let's start practicing prayer. Here's another one. You have to practice patterns. Now, I kind of force this word patterns because I'm OCD, okay? And I don't really mean like patterns, like OCD patterns. I mean more like daily habits, okay? So let me show you what the peace passage says. This is verse 8. Paul says, and now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Let's see if you can see a pattern here. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. What's the pattern? Focus and think about things that are positive, right? Okay, so we'll put this on the screen. What we focus on externally will shape our peace internally. Now, I'm just going to confess, I'm really bad at this. I do this thing, nobody else here does this. I'm the only one who does this. But I do this thing a lot of times where I wake up in the morning and for 10 minutes, I doom scroll on my phone. You guys don't do that, right? It's just me. I'm the only one who does that, right? Okay, it's just me. Okay, it's probably just me. And nothing will put you in a peace deficit for your day than starting your day looking at the news. Oh, great, we're at war, gas prices, Delaware ticks. Have you heard about Delaware ticks this year? If you get bitten, apparently you turn into a zombie, okay? So, I don't know, you don't want to get bitten. If you got bitten yesterday, you're probably going to bite somebody today and turn them into a zombie. I don't know. And you might say, well, I doom scroll, but I just start my day. It's not news. It's TikTok. It's just TikTok, and I follow funny dog videos. But listen, TikTok just heard me talk about Delaware tick-biting zombies. And so tomorrow morning, when you're trying to look up puppies, it's going to be like, oh, I heard what the pastor said, and he's going to show you Delaware tick-biting zombies. This stuff listens to us. Anyway, you're not ready for my tinfoil hat. But what we focus on externally will shape our peace internally. Let me tell you this. That's all funny, but peace is not on your phone. Peace is not on the Fox News app. Peace is not on the CNN app. I know some of you with the Fox News app, you're like, yeah, get him. Then I brought yours up, and you're like, gotcha. Listen, peace is not on WebMD.com. Hello. I'm not saying bury your head in the sand, but I am saying that a lot of times we're feeding our worries and wondering why we have worry. And so, okay, spoiler alert, prayer, reading the Bible, showing up to church feeds our peace. Just quick question. Have you ever walked in here full of anxiety and worry and walked out of here feeling just a little bit better? That ever happened to you? What is that? That is, you are practicing a habit. You're practicing church, and that helps your peace. Here's the last idea. You have to practice gratitude. Now, this is straight from this passage we already read, and it says this in verse 6. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need. Listen to this part. And thank Him. Thank Him for all He has done. Oh, I want you to remember this. So, Jess, if you could put this on the screen. If you want to pump up your peace, don't overlook the good things God's doing in your life. If you want to pump up your peace, Jess, can you put that on the screen? I think we have it. There we go. Don't overlook the good God's doing in your life. Now, other than the 700 figurines of Jesus that we have in my house, we also have this in my house, the blessings jar. And this came from my mom. At last Christmas, she got me and our family a blessings jar, and my brother and his family a blessings jar. And some of you are like, oh, that's so nice. Where did she get it? Cracker Barrel. Okay, that's where my mom does most of shopping. Okay. I don't know. I haven't been in there in decades. But she said, she was so excited. She's like, okay, here's what's going to happen. Okay. You're gonna see a blessing that God's given you in your life. And what I want you to do is take a little piece of paper, write down the blessing, date it, drop it in the blessings jar. And then when you need a blessings boost, you go to the blessings jar, you look at the blessings note, and you get a blessings boost. And then I was like, that's a great idea. So I thought maybe a good idea right now is for me to randomly just pull out some different blessing notes and just read them to you. Is that okay? Okay. All right. right, this is Nora. And she wrote, Charlie, my dog. Charlie didn't get smashed by the cornhole. Thankfully. I do remember this. So we had a cornhole set board in our garage, and Charlie was walking by, and probably God's judgment on his life, the cornhole boards randomly just fell and almost turned Charlie into a smash burger. Now, he's alive. He missed it. It didn't hit him. All right. That's probably why he's an angry elf. But, all right, that's a good one. You got time for a few more? Okay. One note in 18 months. I am so sorry, Mom. Okay, we're terrible people. But it's not because we haven't had blessings in our life. We just, one note. Now, let me give you the full truth. There were 3 other notes in here, but we made our kids write those the day that we got this, okay? So I didn't feel like they counted. This one was the only spontaneous note that we had. We had 4 notes total. 1 was real, the rest were forced. I tell you that because I wonder how many of us are down on peace in our lives because we're not noticing the good things God's doing in our lives. I wonder how many of us have an empty blessings jar, not because we have no blessings, but because we're just not writing down and taking track of those blessings. Come on, how many of you know that every single moment with your kids is a blessing, even if they're slamming doors, people? Every single Sunday that we get to freely come to church and worship together, whether you're into church or not, but how many of you know that's a blessing that we get to do this? It is a blessing every single time a bill is paid, every single sunrise you see, every single sunset you see, every single breath in your lungs is a blessing. We have so many more reasons to have peace than peeves in our life, people. We just got to be able to look for the blessings. And if you're in a bad place in life right now, you can always find something to be grateful for, even when things aren't great. I know we're going to run out of time, so just real quick, we'll put up that last picture. It's not that one. There it is. Okay. This is Corrie ten Boom. And Corrie ten Boom, I don't have time to do a deep dive on her. She's a Holocaust survivor. Her family used to have a little rescue spot for Jews, and they lived in Holland, but they got caught trying to rescue Jews. And so Corrie and her sister got sent to Ravensbrück concentration camp to barracks number 28 in Nazi Germany. And when they got there, Corrie and her sister said, if we are going to survive this situation, we have got to thank God for every single thing here. So how do you thank God for every single thing when you're in a concentration camp? But she decided, and her sister decided, we're just going to thank God for every single thing here. So they walked around, and every single thing, they just thank God. Thank God for this thing, thank God for that thing, thank God for this thing. And then they got to the fleas in their barracks. And Corrie said, I can't thank God for fleas. And her sister said, if we want to survive this place, you have to thank God for everything. And so she said, God, I thank you for the fleas. And so for weeks after she thanked God for the fleas, they noticed a pattern. The pattern was the Nazi guards would never come into their barracks. They would go to all the other barracks, but they would not go into barracks number 28. And so at nighttime, that meant in barracks number 28, they were able to read their Bible, and they were able to have worship services, and they wouldn't be able to do that. They would have been killed if they got caught doing that, but no guards would come in. And finally, after a few weeks, they figured out why the guards wouldn't come in barracks number 28. It's because the barracks number 28 was full of fleas. And here's the thing. They survived because they were thankful for fleas in a terrible situation. And let me just tell you, I don't know what your worry is, but it is as real to you as those fleas were to Corrie ten Boom. Here's what I know about you. You got to survive. How do we survive? The way that we survive is we practice prayer. We practice patterns, daily habits that will bring us closer to Jesus. And then we practice gratitude. Because how many of you got something in your life to be grateful for, even if things aren't that great right now? Amen.